On Monday, rather than going out on my road bike, I decided to go out on my cyclocross bike to try and tick off some Veloviewer tiles, as there were a couple locally that could only be accessed through the canal towpath or bridleways. It was also quite windy this day, and the idea of going slowly on bike paths and off-road was more appealing than trying to go out on the road. So I started my route on the A47 and then followed the bike path all the way around Hinckley until I got to the A5. I didn't plot a route to follow on my Garmin, I just followed where I thought it was, and I ended up at this roundabout, which I then realised was the roundabout to the west of where I wanted to be, and I had to go back into Hinckley a bit to go round to the next roundabout, because I was not cycling along this stretch of the A5. I then got to the correct section of the A5 and followed the bike path along there until I reached the steps to the canal. I carried my bike down the steps of the canal and then walked under the bridge because I wasn't sure if there'd be anything coming in the opposite direction. I then continued along the towpath and didn't see anybody apart from the people with the boats. Veloviewer is a website that splits the map into 1 kilometre squares and then ticks it off once you've ridden through that square. I knew for this tile I needed to get roughly past the first pedestrian bridge to tick this square off. I've not done much riding on canal towpaths before. I generally avoid it in the city centre of Leicester where it's a bit busier, but this was lovely and quiet. I didn't want to continue along the towpath all the way to Nuneaton because it didn't loop round very well on an off-road loop, so I got as far as I needed to and then turned around and came back the same way. Also, how cool is my new Leicester Forest jersey? It's a special limited edition jersey that I pre-ordered a couple of months ago and picked up on the Sunday before this ride. So this was my first time wearing it and it made me smile for the whole ride. I then cut from the towpath to the road through a gap in the hedge to allow me to tick off the second Veloviewer tile that I wanted to. I followed the road until it ended and then it turned to gravel and a bridleway. I was a bit hesitant because there was no bridleway sign on this end, although all of my research that I'd done suggested that it was a bridleway. And when I got to the other end there was an arrow that was a bridleway arrow. The majority of this route was a proper gravel track like this, rather than bridleway through fields and woods. Not long after, I saw a guy with a dog, which gave me confidence that I was allowed to be there. Sometimes it's hard to know what to expect with a bridleway because you can't always see it on street view. And sometimes it's not even rideable or passable at all if hedges are overgrown. But this one was really good and I enjoyed riding along it. I continued along the route, making sure I didn't go anywhere that said private and went the other way instead. There was even a nice little bridge to go over. Near the end of the route, the gravel track bends to the left, but the bridleway goes to the right, along this stretch of field. And then suddenly it turned into a proper surfaced path. My guess is it's associated with the housing development to the left. It had a nice new bridge, and then it suddenly ended and went back to being classic bridleway.
Yeah, I've just come from the gravel track that goes that way.
I then continued on the same path for a little bit. I didn't reach the end because I'd have to overtake some pedestrians in both directions and it didn't seem worth it, so I turned around and came back. Overall, it was a great route and I can't wait to join it up with some other off-road paths. Thanks for watching, bye!